Hey, everybody, welcome back. I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you got a chance to see the poll that I put up earlier asking about dating and under what conditions you'd be willing to consider it again. If you haven't had a chance, go take a look at that and be sure to make your vote count. I want to hear from you on that. And before I go any further, I want to encourage everybody to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. All of that helps the algorithm, it helps us reach even more people. So, without too much further ado, I'm going to dive into tonight's topic, which talks about a story actually that I was watching earlier today. Something that a guy on here on YouTube had shared with me, and it was very interesting. It was talking about a wife who had been slowly collecting money off of her husband over the years, allowing him to pay for everything, cover everything, basically keep everything stable and afloat as she siphoned money off to the side. Not completely clear whether or not she had an income herself, but allowing him to carry the lion's share of the load of all the responsibility and everything as she basically prepared her escape plan. When confronted about it, the husband made it quite clear how his trust had been broken, how hurt and upset he felt about the whole situation, and that he basically left the house to stay with somebody else and was just completely in shock that she would do this. Obviously, this guy has never seen any videos similar to mine. And her defense of it was very interesting because it tells a lot about today's society, really, our society, our culture that we live in. That the defense of it to her seems completely logical and reasonable, that she's worrying that if something happens in the marriage or down the road with them, she doesn't want to get left high and dry. She wants to be able to exit with a whole lot of cash and funds at her disposal to make sure that she's going to have a, I guess, somewhat stable future. But one of the other elements to this story was that this particular guy had been through a period of time where he was suffering financially. He thought they were suffering together, and the reality was that she obviously had quite a bit of money set aside and left him to kind of struggle it out on his own while she kept a bunch of money tucked away, cash, everything that she needed for her escape should he go through hard times. And when he discovered all of this and confronted her about it, because he actually started looking into their finances, I guess he should have been all along, but he actually started to finally look into their finances. And when he did, he discovered her doing this. So she never even admitted it to him. He confronted her and then she reluctantly admitted. And then at some point, apparently, she responded openly on social media through a letter to a podcast saying that not only did she feel justified in doing what she was doing, but that her own mother had encouraged her not only to do this, but once her husband found out, that she should consider just leaving him, taking the funds and leaving him. Now, thankfully, the husband knows about this, so just up and leaving as if the funds weren't ever siphoned off and never didn't go missing and kind of conveniently find their way into a bank account that only she knows about is not something she'll ever very easily be able to hide from the court. But for those of you that watch this channel or are familiar with the marital laws here in the United States, that often won't do you much good, even if you catch the other person lying, committing fraud, committing perjury, as I did when I was going through my divorce years ago. Even as you catch them doing that, that's not a guarantee at all that anything legally will be done about it if they are caught breaking the law, unfortunately. So this actually brought up a memory of someone who I will not identify, but somebody I know of personally, gone through a similar situation where they went through tight financial times and she had been basically siphoning off money as well while he worked his butt off to cover everything. And she allowed them to go through hard times together while she stacked cash as much as she possibly could. Now, at one particular point, both of them were unemployed, but once he had gainful employment again and once she did, she, I think, from my understanding, I'm just trying to lay it out there as best as I understand the situation, but she eventually started spending money on certain things, and he became aware of that, ultimately leading to them deciding to join their accounts together, probably after she had run out of money. And what I'm curious about with this story is, what is your take on this? What do you all think about what I just said? Should somebody be able to stack cash and basically, to a certain degree, plan to double cross their partner, the person they are in a marriage or relationship with? If they are planning to leave, wouldn't that be cause for concern? Because basically, they've basically got one foot off the ship, ready to jump ship on you the moment that you run into troubled waters. And if they're not really intending to do that and they are actually devoted, why would they be planning an exit already? This is one of my major gripes against the marital institution when it comes to the legality of it here in the United States. This has nothing to do with like a trusting relationship per se between a man and a woman. If they're able to put that together, more power to them. There are times where that does work. But this isn't in regards to that. This is in regards to being locked into a marital situation where the other person is actively committing fraud and they might just get away with it based upon the way our legal system is going these days. So, very, very serious stuff to consider here. And as I said before, I'm really curious as to what you guys think about this. Would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And I'm not going to go too much further into it, but I'm going to leave it right there. So I hope you all have a great night, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.